Hello, this is Professor Kinney, and I want to welcome you to the first official all-online version of multimedia storytelling. I just wanted to give you a little advanced heads up on what to expect when you come to class next week. Don't forget Monday is an official statutory holiday, so the Monday class is canceled. So the next available online class will be happening on Wednesday at 8:30 sharp. So I've got Blackboard open here. Let me just back up a little bit. And this kind of looks like yours, I would imagine. And you would click on the course link, Multimedia Storytelling. And I just want to kind of orient you to the lay of the land here. What I've done is I've put all of the really key pieces of information in uppercase letters in the left-hand navigation bar. Announcements, obviously, you would go in there and take a look. There's some old ones in there from my previous class. You can just ignore them if I haven't cleaned them out already by the time class commences. But that's your go-to place for staying in touch. That's me communicating and broadcasting information out to you guys that I feel is important. So it's something worth keeping in touch with on a regular basis. That said, we're going to be meeting online twice a week, but you never know. You should always maybe add in another day in the week where you go into Blackboard and just stay up to date with the announcements for all the classes that you're taking. Activities relates to all the things that we're going to do online in class and the homework that I'm going to assign to you. It's all located in here. And of course, for our first class, we're going to be doing this unit right here, Introduction stuff. And, feel free to go in there and just poke around. You can't break anything, I hope, and you can kind of get a leg up. I always like to encourage students to read ahead. It certainly prepares you for the day, and you spend less time asking questions, more time asking for clarification, direction, and feedback. And that's kind of where you want to be. The next thing is discussions. A couple of important things. There's a course Q&A, and you can go in there, you click on it, and you would just create a thread. And you click on that. The important thing when you're creating a discussion thread is to create a really concise and accurate subject. If you're going to ask a question, ask using a subject like, I have a question, is probably the worst thing you could put up there because it doesn't give us any kind of insight into the nature of your question. If I said, how do I get to my online class, and then ask the question in detail in there, that's a much better thing. Can you show me how to access online classes from Blackboard? Please. Never hurts to be polite. You do that, and then you would simply submit that post right there. So anyway, that's the discussion board. Let's take a look at some of the other ones. And that's the course Q&A. So all your questions related to course material that you need clarification on, that's your go-to place. There's other homework discussion threads which are actually graded, and they're marked as such. This is a graded activity. So your participation really is expected in these areas, and there's quite a few of them. Because there's a lot we need to talk about and discuss and mull over before we actually get started making up our stories. So that's a discussion. Back on that question that the prof asked, how do you get online? And if your prof's asking you how to get online, well, I'd be asking for your money back. So you would just click on online classes, and it launches this thing called Blackboard Collaborate. It could also be accessed here from tools, where you have a whole list of different tools that you have access to in there. But I made it easy for you. You just click right there on online classes. We're now into Blackboard Collaborate Ultra, and there's two folders, one containing all the sessions for the Monday class and one containing all the sessions for the Wednesday class. Make sure you're going into the right one. So if we go in here on Monday, and you'll notice it's a recurring thing, and there's all these calendar entries. So our first Monday class is actually on the 25th of May. If we go back to the Wednesday class, our actual first class is on Wednesday the 20th. And you would just simply click on this little ellipsis here. We've got some session options. Oh, that's for me. I should actually be making it look like I'm a student. So just give me a second with that. And the magic of technology. My account looks like a student account. So here we are now. We're going to the online class. Blackboard Collaborate launches. Our very first class together is Wednesday. We go to the 20th of May. We go in there, and it tells you when it starts and ends. And it hasn't actually officially started yet, but at that time, you would just jump in there and join the session. So, class isn't in session yet, but I can show you here. This is kind of like a drop-in room, and I will use this throughout the term for informal drop-ins when there's non-scheduled class time. With scheduled classes, you're expected to be there on time, and you're expected to remain there until I kind of give you the heave-ho out and let you go and do your work. It's not as rigid as a lab environment. You know, you can come and go, make yourself a cup of tea or whatever. I will be recording those sessions, so you'll have them available to you. However, grading on your participation will happen, and part of that is tied to your attendance. So being there for a minimum of 40% of the scheduled time is a requirement. Being there on time is also a requirement. And so just make sure you're diligent about that. And so now, in fact, you know, if you're one of those people that really has a hard time getting out of bed, you can take the class from your bed. It's amazing. I've even taught from my bed. But I guarantee you, I'll be working here from this new office that I built just for this purpose. Now, look at that. That's my wife's recording area in there. She's a professional voice actor, and I'm just sneaking into her recording area and using it as my office space. Please don't tell her. So anyway, you would go into a session just like this, and this is the informal drop-in. This is kind of like going to my office and knocking on the door, and you come in there, and this is what it looks like. You just say, I'm going to join the course room. Come into the room, the wheel spins, and we wait as it spins, and it looks kind of like this. First thing you're going to need to do is, now I've got your mic and your camera switched off, but there are times when I will allow you to present your work. In fact, I will require you to show me your work, in which case you would have to switch on your microphone and share your audio, and also share your video if, let's say, I just want to make sure it was you and not an imposter. And then we can wave at each other, and you can click here to raise your hand, and that lets me know that you have a question to ask. And there's a little area down here in the bottom right. If you click on that, this panel opens and closes, and you'll notice that there are a number of features in there. Like this. First feature is a chat room, so you can use the chat. Hello, and there's tons of emojis in there. I like that. And the pirates, spelling crossbones. And so you can chat between one another, and we'll appoint one of you as a moderator. Just keep an eye on the chat, because once I get going on a demo, I kind of lose track of where I'm at often, and there's been times where I've just gone ahead with the demo and I haven't switched on the record button, or I haven't shared my screen, and all you are seeing is a dark screen, and I don't want that to happen for you. So anyway, let me just close all of my mail there. What boy we got. And let's go to this area here, attendees. From time, we'd see a whole list of who's there, and from time to time, I could add you in as a presenter to show your work, and then you can share content. You can share your screen, and if I just jump out of there for a second, and I go back and I change my access privileges, so I can just pop here, then I'm going to leave the session, and then I'm going to go back to Blackboard. I'm going to exit out of student view, and I should be able to jump back in here. Oh no. Oops, take me back. Let's see if I can come back in as a full-on prof. Okay, share, no. Okay, so I'm just going to close that session, and I'm going to go into my online class. Just jump into my online office here. I just wanted to show you what it looks like when you share your screen. And you'll be required to do that from time to time. And so, I can make my video work, share my video, there you go. And then I could share my microphone, but that would just create an echo because I'm already recording it through my piece of software. Open this area up here. You can chat. You can see who's in there. You can see that I can make different students. I can make them moderators. I can make them presenters and so on. Then I can share files. I can share a whiteboard. I can share my screen. And I do that. I can share my entire screen or just an application window or a web browser, Chrome web browser tab. I can click on that to activate it, and then I can say share. And it starts to share the contents of my screen. And this is like looking into a mirror because it's a recording of a recording of a recording. Anyway, to stop that, I would just click this button in the top right, and as the prof, I would be recording them. And you would be able to access those recordings in the same manner, just by clicking this little bar up there. As a student, you'll be able to access anything that I recorded. So you'll have me forever and ever and ever. So it's a brief orientation. There's some system settings in there that you can set up, like your speaker volume, notification settings, and so on. And then we can just close that. When you want to get out, you've had enough, and you're never going to have enough. You just say, leave the session. And then it'll say, hey, rate your experience. Was it any good? I'm going to skip that.